Hey guys, we have a very powerful, emotionally intense, cathartic new moon coming up in Capricorn January the 11th, but it also involves the potential for some strategic success as it binds itself into a kite, and that kite could also bring you some surprising successes as well. So we're going to dive into how both success, surprising success, and superpowered determined action can be a part of what falls out for you, not just in the 2 weeks that follow the new moon, but indeed the 6 months that follow the new moon as it pertains to the Capricorn part of your sky. But we're also going to talk about how this looks a little bit difficult because of its proximity to Pluto. And that's where we get the emotional catharsis and intensity involved in this lunation. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Lori Lothian. I'm using the Western Tropical Zodiac whole sign houses. And if you're new to my channel, please hit the like button and subscribe. I'm on a makeshift desk here as I'm traveling in Atlanta, Georgia, so I keep hitting my microphone. So first of all, I want to talk about the idea of a moon. Then we're going to talk about this moon in particular. We're going to do all signs, of course, and listen for your rising sign, sun and moon. They will intend to be the most accurate for the rising sign. Sun can be about career, father figures, purpose, maybe your vitality. Your moon can be your body, your mother, home-based situations, security and safety needs. So this is why, your rising sign is really mostly all about you, pure and simple. Now, as we get ready to start this particular video, I want to say a few things. I'm recording early, by the way, January the 5th for my patron community. I'm going to be mentioning some world events that might be occurring as I speak, January 5th. And by the time you see this on Sunday, the 7th, I may be out of date. So keep that in mind, because in the beginning of all my videos, I do what was called a mundane astrology overview about how the sky may indeed be reflecting the trajectory of things happening in our world today. Now, it's a new moon, so you want to give that a 6-month rollout to a full moon in Capricorn 6 months later. But it's also most often in the 2 weeks that follow that you see a lot of what I'm about to talk about begin to occur in the news cycle, but also for your own life. The only thing I'm sharing with you as a sort of a bit of a promotion is that we do have, first of all, the Mars Capricorn Rising webinar, and please jump in board. That's going to be a really good 90-minute deep dive. It's only $14 and it's in the description box below. Hopefully you'll be able to attend, but if not, you get the replay. Mars Rising in Capricorn last happened in 1977, and it influenced 77 to 79 in your life. Things that happened that were exalted and successful and powerful in your Capricorn real estate of your natal chart. And this time, again, it's happening once again at 27 degrees of Capricorn, rising Mars on the 27th of January. And that's also going to influence your life over a 2-year window. I will be doing a separate video on that, but stay tuned and jump into the webinar for a lot more detail than you're going to get on a video from me on YouTube. And lastly, hey, All Signs 2024 videos are now out. They're for sale. The sale ends at the end of January. You can buy one at a time or get the bundle. Each video is about 90 minutes long, and it's a fundraiser for my equipment and all the things I need to keep my channel growing every single year. Okay, so let's get going and talk about the sky. Hoo, hoo, hoo. That's me going, woo, hoo, hoo, because this is an interesting lunation. First of all, it's happening in Capricorn, and that's not a big deal. We get a new moon in Capricorn every single year around this time of year. But what's so special about it is that it happens to be also attended by Mars, who during the moon, which is at 20 degrees of Capricorn, is at 5 degrees of Capricorn. And he is the exaltation planet for Capricorn in domicile, still invisible, but getting ready to peak out in the early dawn hours on the 27th onward of January. So you have this really powerful exalted Mars at home in domicile, and importantly, in a beautiful sextile flow to Capricorn, to Saturn in Pisces, the Lord of Capricorn. So the domicile Lord, the planet that owns the real estate of Capricorn, is Saturn, sitting at 4 degrees of Pisces. Mars at 5 degrees of Capricorn, right? And the moon, the full new moon, is at 20 degrees of Capricorn. Mars is flowing, and a conversation to the Lord of the house in which he's traveling, where he gets VIP treatment. I wonder if this means that you may find that because Saturn is hanging out in Pisces, that things that are connected to the Pisces part of your chart and to the Capricorn part of your chart are highly excitingly successful in the next couple of years, because we're going to bake in that rising, but also more importantly, a part of this moon in the next 6 months and 2 weeks. The thing about this is that this particular moon is also conjunct Pluto. It's a broad conjunction of 9 degrees, but it matters. In fact, a lot of archetypal astrologers will give Pluto, like, I don't know, 12 or 13 degree orb, and he is a very slow moving bugger. He's pretty well grinding into the 29th degree of Capricorn, getting ready January 20th to move into Aquarius. So, Pluto Capricorn energy with this moon is about that emotional intensity, that emotional catharsis that may be happening here. Now, I'm going to pause the recording, I think, and get a different piece of cardboard if I hit this one more time, because my mic is on a piece of cardboard, so please excuse the sound of the cardboard rattling. One of my favorite is, and we're going to talk about the asteroid Apollo, who's in the mix here, right opposite, exactly opposite this lunation on fixed star Castor. This is going to look like a lot of interesting things in the world. But before I bring the chart over, we do the mundane astrology. Hope you like that stuff, world events and astrology, maybe for about 20 minutes, and then go to all signs. Let me tell you, this is in my description box, the name of this book, Archetypal Universe, Renn Butler. Just Google it online once if you want it. It's an incredible book about getting into the archetypes of the planetary combinations. And one of the things I will say here is that when we talk about Moon Pluto in difficult circumstances, and this is difficult only because the moon on Pluto is in a conjunction, and that's considered a hard aspect in many ways. And that can be extreme emotional reactions, dark or obsessive feelings, brooding, smoldering, challenging outbursts in your home or family life. But also it can be regeneration and healing at its very best. It's also a bit of that clearing the decks, like emotional reset button, emotional meltdown and restart, catharsis. But there's a quote here from Nietzsche, the philosopher, who is known for the philosophy of nihilism and God is dead. Nietzsche says, and he's born with a moon square Pluto, which can be the toxic mother archetype. He's born with moon square Pluto. And here's a quote from Nietzsche that I think says it all about the world events and a new moon at 20 degrees of Capricorn. It is insanity in individuals is something rare, but in groups, parties, nations, and epochs, it is the rule. And secondly, Virginia Woolf, also with a Pluto moon conjunction involving Mars, says, she's a playwright, Virginia Woolf, she says, great bodies of people are never responsible for what they do. Great bodies of people are never responsible for what they do. And don't forget, the moon represents the people, the masses, the populace, Pluto, power, tyranny, domination, and control. And it's interesting that China is born with its moon in Aquarius, and Pluto's about to go over that moon in the next 3 years. Hard moon Pluto aspects for China, and it could involve the Taiwan story. But also, let me read Nietzsche one more time before we move on. Insanity in individuals is something rare, but in groups, parties, nations, and epochs, it is the rule. Given what's going on in the Middle East, I think all of this is very, very freaking relevant, okay? I really do. Let's pull the chart up, and let's go then through the idea of the asteroid Apollo, the fixed star Castor, getting mucked up into this mess together. And, Apollo means leader, sun god. It can look like people who are in power, who rule. I mean, Apollo was also involved in things to do with prophecy and healing and pandemics in the ancient world, in the time of the actual stories of Apollo, who is indeed the son of Jupiter and gave birth to a son himself, Asclepius, the great healer. So when we see Apollo, we also think leader, right? Places where there's a bold, bright energy or a solar figure activating. And so I'll show you the sky, because Apollo with Castor, a somewhat difficult and sometimes malefic star, he's the mortal twin of the immortal twins of Castor and Pollux. This star with this leader energy or this solar energy opposite a sun and moon, right? A new moon is a bit daunting, and it may be involving some calamitous events as it pertains to world leaders. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to bring you over to the sky, and we're going to go a little deep into the mundane, and then we're going to move away from the mundane into your sign. If you don't like mundane astrology, that's okay. You don't have to stick around, but I will ask you to maybe stick around for some of it, because I'm going to talk about things that will be in your sign. And if you don't know what I've said up here, I'm not going to repeat it all again. Okay, so you might want to be here for that. That's all I'm saying. All right, so and when we talk about your sign, we're really going to talk about how this Capricorn powerful energy down here in the second house is about to really enliven itself, really take off in some way, because there's a kite involved here as well. You see that kite? Can we all see a kite? There's another lesser kite with Apollo, but we're not going to include it because Apollo is a minor asteroid. But Athena, the goddess of strategy, knowledge, and wisdom, and the goddess of partnerships, business, love, and committed, enduring contractual agreements to keep on connecting. Like you could even use Juno for treaties. And you can also say Pluto and the new moon over here are forming this little mini trine that anchors itself in an earth trine connected to Uranus. Expect the unexpected. This is a kite that wants to take off, but it's requiring something from Athena at the tip of the kite to propel it forward from Uranus's handhold on that backbone of a kite. You know, Athena, strategy, knowledge, and wisdom, but also a goddess of war and victory in war. So we want to keep that in mind. But in your life, it could be strategy, knowledge, and wisdom. I'm just going to stop the share for 5 seconds, pause the recording, and damn it, put a better piece of cardboard underneath my microphone. Give me 5 seconds. That's better. I'm just hoping right now that I haven't actually changed the sound quality into something completely different. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, guys. It does help the channel grow. And if the channel grows, I keep producing content. If the channel doesn't grow, I probably won't. So it really keeps me excited to make this content for all of you here on YouTube land. Okay, so let's get back to the picture of the sky. And here we have coming up. And if I talk a little fast, let me just stop for a second. People sometimes say I'm a little fast for them. Then you know what you can do? You can actually change the playback speed with a little gear icon. And it's all right there at the top of your video. So try that. And because I do talk fast, I have 3 planets in Aries and a lot of air as well, okay? There's a Sabian symbol, by the way. I almost forgot to mention it, for 21 degrees of Capricorn. And we want to look at that right now. I'm just pulling it up. And the reason is I don't have my Sabian symbol book. I'm traveling. The Sabian symbols are uncanny sometimes. I've got the crystal ball gazer on my moon at Sabian symbol. And I had a whole psychic career reading talking to dead people in my 30s. And you can argue that maybe this is a crystal ball gazing career as well, doing astrology readings. So let me pull that up for us right now and get the Sabian symbol, because it might be useful. I haven't looked at it yet, so we're doing it. Getting a grip on hands off. Whoa, getting a grip on hands off. That doesn't sound like a Sabian. Let me go read that again. I don't think that could be it. Capricorn 21. Okay, let's go look. Getting a grip on hands off. Okay, that is so trippy because it sounds so modern. And this was channeled by Elsie Wheeler in the 1920s. All right. Wow. No, it's a relay race. Don't ever Google randomly Sabian symbols. Go to like Mindfire or John Sandbach. I have no idea which site I pulled up. It's a relay race, Capricorn 21. That makes more sense. A relay race. Okay. You interpret a relay race as you would like. It's somebody's passing a baton to somebody else. In your life, where are you either receiving something that's being passed towards you, or where may in this lunation you be the one passing the baton forward. Did you guys see that they got some weird lighting here? Did you see that hopefully this didn't freeze. I'm having some serious issues with my computer, and hopefully I'm not all wobbly on you. Okay, sharing the screen. Back to the story. All right, let's get going. So hopefully you're all be able to see what I am seeing right here, right now, which is that we have a kite, and there's the goddess of war. or victory in war. There's Juno, treaties and commitments and vows and business and love partnering, kind of a dedication to not giving up on something that's considered to be a partnering up in some way, whether it's personal or political. And over here, the new moon with that Pluto conjunction and Mars over here, still invisible, but still in the sign of his exaltation, flowing to Saturn, the Lord of the sign. I know some of you like the annotation feature, so let me do that for you. So there's Lord Saturn, and there's Mars. Saturn owns the real estate here. And these two are in a sextile, which is an easy flowing and wonderful conversation. It would have been more exact a couple of days before the moon, but it's still in play. And sometimes Mars delivers the best goods after. This could be some structural fortifications, determined action, focused discipline in your life coming up in the time that just is before and after this moon. At the same time, you can see that we have Athena, the goddess of strategy, knowledge, wisdom, and victory in war, right at the top of that kite, anchored by partnerships and agreements and perseverant ones. You can certainly argue in the world, the United States has a rather perseverant binding connection to the nation at war in the Middle East that doesn't seem to have any kind of, what is it, no red lines, as they say, to death do us part. And over here we have Uranus, and Uranus is the unexpected. Jupiter is here, but he's not really close enough for that. Of course, Jupiter is flowing to Saturn and Mars, and that creates what we call a mini grand trine, which is very positive. And I'll be doing a whole video around January 11th, just talking about this luscious little bit of real estate where Mars flows to Saturn and Jupiter. And that's also in my all signs videos for January of 2024. Go check out your sign to see how that plays out. Now, back to the kite for a minute, right? Yes, there's a kite. It wants to take off. It's got a handhold with Uranus. The problem with Uranus is unexpected things. Like, I'm not going to tell you what the unexpected, surprising, if not shocking, but maybe exhilarating, exciting thing is that's happening in your fourth house. It helps you lift off a kite to your 12th, to your, not fourth house, from your Taurus house to your Scorpio house. I'll do the kite in all signs in a minute, but I don't know how the unexpected thing plays out. The reason it matters is the lunation is forming this kite, and therefore look to the next 2 weeks after this for some success in your Scorpio house connected to what this moon is doing in your Capricorn house. Finally, this is Apollo. He is a sun god. He's a guy that is going to be involved here with Castor. Castor can be a star of great difficulty. It's not always an easy star. This is the twin that was killed. He was not mortal. His brother Pollux gave him, some immortality, split his immortality with him. Castor and Pollux were the kids that were born from Leda, the queen of Sparta, and apparently different fathers. Jupiter bore the Pollux a brother and or twin, and Castor was the mortal father, which was a king, I believe. And interestingly enough, I mean, they go pretty well. One was considered to be like a boxer, and that was Pollux, the immortal twin, and a fighter. And that's also Hercules, by the way. And Castor was the herdsman, and he worked with horses, and he was way more laid back, just so you know. But when I think of herdsmen, what kinds of countries are herding countries historically? Certainly the Arab world. The Arab world were very nomadic and herder-oriented in many traditions or many parts of the Arab world. And so herder nations, solar leader, right? A sun figure, opposing a Capricorn established leader, sun, moon, new beginning. That's an opposition, just so you know. They're right opposite each other. They do form their own kite, but I really don't want to talk about a kite with such a minor asteroid in the formation, but there would be a kite here as well, with the tip of the kite being this part of the sky, the Capricorn sky. Partly also is possible when I look at this. I'm going to read a bit about Castor to you in a second, but when I look at this and I think about different nations of the world, right, where they have their placements. Well, for the nation of Israel, I don't want to get in trouble on the algorithm. Honestly, they don't love it here, unless you're a political news channel. Their rising sign is Libra, and therefore their 10th house of their sky, where their leaders sit, okay, is the sign of Cancer. And this is a star Castor that's 5 degrees from the midheaven of that nation, and that is now at war. And their midheaven is on Procyon, also a very challenging, very interesting star. So let's go into a bit of that right now, just before we get into the all signs. Reminding you guys, I do the mundane astrology because if you don't look at the life, like the world in our stars is my new podcast. I swear, I've got the domain, the world in our stars, for anyone who wants to dive into mundane astrology, learn a bit about how the sky reflects what's going on, as above, so below. If you like that kind of thing, please, you'll probably love my podcast. It'll probably start halfway through next year. Now let's get rid of all these annotations and let's talk about Castor. Let's talk about Procyon on the midheaven of Israel. Annotate, stop. Clear all drawings. There we go. So let's go into the star stories right now. And I'm just going to take away the share for a second and look at me, just because I'm trying to pull up stuff on the back end and it's very busy. So I did do some research this morning and got this stuff all lined up for us. And I also want to mention something else. You know, the nation of South Africa, who's now putting in a case for war crimes and stuff, has maybe a Pisces rising, but also in its 1800s inception as a nation, a Libra rising. A Libra at 21 degrees of Libra rising with the old 1800s chart for South Africa, which used to be called Durban, is very evocative, because it was that eclipse that happened at 21 degrees Libra in October that activated this, and Mars conjuncting the South Node in Libra, that connected to the events that we're seeing unfold now. These things, October events, have connected us to where we are now with this war in the world. And indeed, you know, even the 8-degree Taurus star of the nation of Israel was eclipsed on October 28th. And eclipses can backwash up to 6 weeks to 2 months before the eclipse. So we see a lot of this turbulence. But when I think about what South Africa is doing by basically having an objection and taking, you know, this to task as a court, you know, war crime court genocide story with genocidal intent. I'm sure these words are not going to kill this algorithm, but anyway, I find it interesting because suddenly South Africa is headlining, dominating the news cycle, getting a lot of people to comment on what's really going on, and yet they also were underneath the energy of the 21-degree Libra eclipse in the month of October, and so you can keep seeing the same stories playing out, as above, so below. Now Africa's in the fray, right? In a way that's meaningful, and they have something to say here. Africa may not go away because there's more eclipses in Libra coming up in March 25th and October 2nd next year. So that Africa piece, using the 1800s chart for Africa, not the later one, another later one, which is a Pisces rising, looks like it has some accuracy here for sure. All right, so let's talk about the stars that I mentioned, going to my notes for now and telling you what I'm seeing. Give me a sec while I grab those notes that I drew up this morning. Yeah, just when you want to find your notes, they disappear. You know, I'm on a tiny little laptop, so bear with me, right? I'm not on a giant desktop with a big panel screen, so everything's tucked behind everything else, even though it was there a minute ago. All right, I'm almost there, guys. All right, let's get it up. Notes, here we go. So what I wrote about today in the morning when I was doing some notes is, first of all, Procyon is at 25 degrees of the sign of Libra in tropical zodiac. And that means that the star is really at the 25-degree midheaven of the nation that's at war in the Middle East, the one with all the bombs. And basically, Procyon can be about a few really difficult and dark elements. So I'm going to tell you about that. Procyon, according to Ptolemy, is an ancient philosopher, is the nature of Mars, which is a god of war, as well as Mercury. It's often associated with people who are really good at business and getting really good business enterprise off the ground in the natal sky. But also it can be a very temperamental and very hot and furious star. And it has a lot to do with the idea here. And I'm going to read this to you. Here's a little bit about this star. It literally is a strong physical drive and a sharp mind. Sure, great. That's if you have that as a person. But anger issues and unresolved pain from the past are indicated with Procyon in astrology. Now, a nation can have anger issues and unresolved material from the past. There's no reason why a nation doesn't have some features because the people are people who have unresolved anger and pain from the past who live in that nation. right? Because we know what happened in the 1940s to the people who live in Israel today. Now, also, it says there's also a tendency for a hot temper, impudence. So hot temper, getting angry. And also, I'm reading on. What else? Hot temper, anger, unresolved issues and pain from the past. And also, all right. So that's kind of it. I really wanted to go with sort of the darker side. There's more on the dark side. I don't know where I put the notes to do with acting hastily, acting rashly, having a hot temper, not thinking things through, sort of lashing out. And it's also connected to dog bites. Oh my God. People who have that star often will experience a dog bite, especially if the star is near their ascendant or the vibe of a dog bite, because it's in the constellation of the Canis Minor or major constellation of the sky. So there's that part. And now we're going to talk a little bit about Castor as well. And we're also going to talk about two other stars connected to this story. Now, one star I want to mention is that there is, the lyre of Orpheus, a musical instrument, and there's two very minor or not talked about stars sitting on the moon. One is Sheliac, and it is the star of the lyre or the harp. And it's about creativity and harmony, spurring on artistically, being strong and assertive and innovative and inventive. Keep that in mind. And there's another star right sitting there on the moon called Sulphate, like sulfur. And it's also positive. It has to do with harmonies and success, and a tune for success through harmony and results orientation, like good communication and results that orient from good communication, connecting with others in a good way. Now, in our individual lives, we can use that anyway, but in the world, will that play out with this particular placement? I'm not sure. And the sun is also conjunct opposite Apollo, which I mentioned. Now that's, as I said, a leadership energy, a symbol of leaders, people who are in power. I'm just going to take it very literally that there's something going on with the energy of power. All right. And it's going to connect some way to two leaders opposing each other, because the sun moon is sun opposite Apollo. So we will see in the 2 weeks that follow a clash of leaders. That's how I'm seeing it and with this happening, with this energy being up in the top of the sky with Castor, where Israel has its own leadership, its own 10th house, it's obviously that leader clashing with another world leader. That's how I'm taking it. And the world leader of South Africa also would be connected to Apollo. And Capricorn represents power structures, military bureaucracies, governing bodies, the banking industry, but people who have a lot of power, like the dominant power of any given time, I would put in the sign of Capricorn. So Western nation conflicts, perhaps as well, against some Apollo figure. I'm not going to do every sign. I know that Leo rising is one of the Iran charts, and holy man, that's going to be really intense because of Mars's 3-month stay in Leo next year, starting with the retrograde in Leo at the end of sometime next year, October, November, and a lot of time going in and out of Leo through to June of next year will probably look like, for you interested in the war drums beating, it will look like a lot of intensity around Iran fully stepping into the conflict, probably. And I do anticipate, for reasons I won't go into now, that October will look like hell on wheels next year when it comes to the word war. And when it comes to what has been going on in the Middle East, now taking a darker turn than anything we've seen so far. So sorry to give you that gnarly news. Lastly, Castor is a star with this Apollo energy, and Castor can also be about murderous intent and really difficult, malevolent energies. Just a little bit from, like, say, a quickie pullback, from the Astrology King. If you ever want to Google fixed stars, he's got a Jamie Partridge. Astrology King has a lot of great content on the stars, the lunar mansions are involved in, etc. But it does bring fame and honor and distinction, sure, but also followed by loss of fortune, disgrace, sickness, trouble, and great afflictions. Its natives are said to be prone to violence. Now, this is a star sitting within 5 degrees of the midheaven of Israel. But this is a star that's activated now with this January 11th new beginning, new moon that can unfold not just 2 weeks after, but 6 months after. When we talk about sickness and affliction, there are also some problems going on in Israel to do with a fungus that's antibacterial resistant, not in Israel, in the war battlefields, actually. But there's all kinds of illnesses that can be percolating in an environment where there's a humanitarian crisis. So whether some of that sickness, trouble, and affliction will just be about, the place where the war is actually happening, or translate to also the country for who's dropping 2,000-pound bombs and 22,000 bombs and destroyed 3/4 of the housing in a particular place in the world. We'll see where that affliction, sickness, and disgrace and fall and loss of fortune come. But I am going to say that I do not feel that Israel's situation is tenable because of the lack of goodwill, at the very least, that they're generating worldwide, but also because we all know that when people are really, really, really traumatized, they will seek revenge. And so revenge will be a story next year, probably next fall. So that's as cryptic as I can get without getting somehow booted off of YouTube or algorithmically down. Plus two all signs and make this a more happy story for each of us. I remind you, you're not going to be having to deal with, stars are often connected to world events more than individuals, unless you have a star conjunct a natal planet. So we're talking about your chart. We have a success kite. Okay. We have a success kite. I'm going to call this video Success Kite, just so you'll click on it. All right. So let's start off with each sign and talk about what this looks like up to 2 weeks and 6 months after. And let's cue it, please. And remember, it's a relay race, right? Who's passing the baton in the relay? Are you passing it to someone else, or is the baton for winning the day being passed to you? So I think the thing I want to do is move it to the hours, Lori. You can do it. We're going to Aries first. Now that moon's moving really quickly, so let's move it this way. Hang on. Is anyone else dizzy? All right. Somehow I missed Aries, but I'll get her back. Oh my God, I've never had so much trouble queuing a chart. We're going to get rid of that midheaven. It shouldn't be here. Oh my goodness. I'm on January 10th, guys. Okay, I think we're skipping Aries because the software doesn't like Aries right now. So, my God. I can't wait to get back to Vancouver. I love traveling, but trying to do all this on the road has been really challenging. Okay, give me a minute while I fix it and get right back to you. All right, let's roll. This is going to be for you, Aries, Sun, Moon, and especially and most accurate, perhaps, rising sign folks. Now, you can see that this is a big new moon in your 10th house of career and reputation. This is where the world sees you doing what you do, whether you have a career or not. You're retired. What are you doing in the world? You're a student. How are you looking in your student land? What are your visuals up there? How do people see you? What are you aiming for? What does success look like? 10th house matters. And you have a new beginning, and it's going to take up to 6 months to fully unfold. But don't forget, we got some really positive stars that I mentioned in the intro, okay, that are really fueling this in a positive way for you. And a Mars exalted in Saturn's sign, flowing to Saturn. So I'll go like this for you guys, and let's get rid of that darn midheaven. Doesn't belong there. All right. What this is like is something along the lines of, you're going to find, especially with Mars rising here, a huge energy of flow and intensity towards your career in the 2 weeks and 6 months that follow, as you put a lot of passion, hard work, drive, and determination, forbearance, and force of will. That's that connection to Saturn into what needs to be done here. Go January 11th, add 2 weeks. You're on your career game, and you're getting your money increase from the 12th house. If you payment processors, PayPal, Stripe, international revenue, or foreign countries and foreign lands that generate revenue for you, or international companies, this stuff is up leveling for you in the in the aftermath of 2 weeks and up to 6 months that follow a new beginning, new moon. It'll take you 6 months to bring it all to fullness, full moon completion, perhaps. Now, also, the other thing going on here is you can see a kite in the sky. Wow, what a great kite is this? This can look like you're succeeding in your chunky money. You're being strategic in that eighth house where Athena sits. You're learning how to, parse the accounting, get the taxes right, invest your money strategically. You're looking at ways to succeed in your chunky money. And why don't you share with others, including loans, mortgages, banks, and investments? This is a place where you want to succeed in the 6 months that follows the new moon. And you may do contractual agreements to do with leases and property, pets and animals, or situations that are contractual and business partnering in your work situation that also enhances your moon. This is a place of employees, and some of you may hire employees. I sure am already doing it. Or some of you may be employed in a new situation that's going to really help you thrive in your finances. And that new employment contract or that employee contract can be a part of your success financially as you generate more passive income or investment income or better situations with business partner money. And lastly, unexpected developments on the bottom of this kite booming through your second house. This is really exciting for you. How could you suddenly have a giant, unexpected cash infusion or an unexpected and exciting amount of money coming to you? Now, I do want to say we have Apollo here with Castor. And, honestly, Apollo is a sun god. And we're not talking about world politics. We talk about your sign. And Uranus does flow as he holds a kite to things to do with home, land, property, and real estate and your nest. And therefore, possibly, there's also going to be some unexpected opportunity for financial thrival connected to the word home, land, property, and real estate coming off the 2 weeks that follow this moon. Okay, maybe you're being very leaderful and very prophetic from your home because Apollo was also prophetic. And maybe you're leveling up some new success in your home as well in the 2 weeks that follow, especially as it pertains to your finances. And if I was in your shoes, I'd say as well, we do have this mini grand trine that I did in the All Signs, deeper dive into the All Signs 24, not All Signs 24, the January 24 videos for each sign. But don't forget, whatever you're doing, you are doing something around the time of this moon that is doing you a service in career, foreign land revenue, or getting a grip on addiction, self-undoing, and bad habits. All of this is bundled in to this particular new beginning, new moon that can last for up to 6 months after, kind of an inception timestamp. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. First of all, what's going on is that you have a beginning here, a new beginning in a flowing trine to you of a new moon that says you might have a new start in foreign travel, foreign shores, foreign lands, academic environments, and also new beginnings in environments that connect you perhaps to legal and court cases and matters. And this fresh start is conjunct Pluto, so it can bring you power, but also transformation. And, there's a sense of having to regenerate and resurrect and renew, something to do with ninth house matters. Deeply underneath the surface of the ninth house is the concept of one's path to be true to yourself, to find your path of dharma where you're most uniquely suited to express your gifts and talents in this world for the greater good. And this energy flowing to you is opening up a door in the next 6 months that may inform you of a new direction in your life path. And particularly as well, you can do well in legal matters. Mars is exalted. He's coming into visibility at the end of December and rising here. And you can win the day in legal matters as well as the desire for positive academic outcomes. But Saturn, who's also the Lord of your career and reputation, owns the ninth house and wants you to be working hard in a very determined way through 11th house matter. So this can be determined to be aligned with your truest purpose in a way that increases your greater gains from your career, that actualizes a deeper, stable, and more realistic long-range plan for your life, that actualizes something to do with even leaning into friends who wish to benefit you, who act like a benefactor in the 2 weeks that follow this moon, if not the 6 months after. We have a kite. Well, it's all about success. Something's going to take off in the world. And it's your 7th house of marriage or a significant love relationship. Certainly a single Taurus. This can indicate this moon inciting you to a brand new love relationship because you have Juno, the goddess of marriage commitment in the house of romance. And it can mean that this person you meet is connected to academic environments or foreign lands. But if you're also with somebody, similar idea, an increase of success, strategy, knowledge, and wisdom, Athena, in the marriage house, in the commitment house, coming off that romance house, and travel. I wonder if some of you'll just travel to a foreign country, get really romantic with the one you're with, and solidify a deeper commitment in the relationship. Or if you're single, meeting someone through travel, foreign countries, foreign lands, or religious settings or spiritual settings. And unexpected developments with Uranus, but you are the one channeling Uranus. You are the one who has the originality, the invention, and the rebel streak to bring something into formation in significant love relationships and business partnerships. I wonder, with this energy of Apollo, this leader energy, sun god energy, sitting with Castor in your 3rd house, a travel house. It looks really like energetically with Jupiter, Uranus flowing to this 3rd house, a travel and education house, unexpected travel and education opportunities coming through your sky in the 2 weeks that follow this new moon, and of course in the 6 months that follow in the long game storyline. With a kite pointing at that significant marriage house, you're really trying to make it work. This is a chart that speaks to trying to fortify and strengthen existing business and love partnerships. Now, I am just very briefly going to stop the share because I ran out of water. And you guys know I'm a water junkie, and be back and we'll keep on going. If you're new to my channel and you haven't hit the like button, please do. If you're in the live premiere watching, please hit the like button, subscribe. Don't forget that notification bell is also great. I do 25, 30 videos a month, and I put most of them in premiere mode, and I chat with you in the premiere about the content. If you'd like to meet me in the chat boxes, that's a great way to do that, where I get to your questions and get to know you as well. So let's get going, and we're going to do next sign, Gemini. So moving into Gemini, people, let's get you forward. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising. Guess what? You got a new beginning, a new start, fresh start in your chunky money house. It's really good for your taxes and your 401k and your bank loans and mortgages, money you share with your significant other, royalty and passive income as well. Selling something, ad income can be here, like, on YouTube, just rolling out, you're not doing dollars for hours. It's not your earned income. So things like that are going to increase, or having you reset button, and in a very powerful and positive way, because we have Mars there, and he is still invisible until the 3rd week of January, 27th or so, but he's still exalted here, and he's going to eventually rise. And this is like a bit of a lunation that's tied into a rising in your long-term chunky money stories, and especially positive for you in the regards to real estate. We'll get to that in a minute. But before we talk about that, let's remind ourselves that this new beginning in your 8th house can last up to 6 months, but it also is the 2 weeks that after the moon itself happens on the 11th of January. You may get some indication of what this is really about. This new moon is taking its cue from Saturn in your career and reputation house. Saturn's up there trying to level you up until 2026 to be an authority, to be authoritative, to be responsible, to be masterful, to be an expert or something, to really peak out in your career. Some of you may end your career by February of 26 because you've mastered something, you've climbed a mountain. But right now he's still there, and he's going direct at 4 degrees, and he's looking over at Saturn, Mars in his sign, his 8th house, in your 8th house, his Capricorn goatee sign. And he's like, okay, Well, I want you to do a lot really well financially, and it's connected to your career. So this is definitely not like just, money shared with, an inheritance or something. But I will let you know that inheritance monies can also be the eighth house, and some of you may come into a bequeathment in the next couple of years. But that is in the Mars Rising video that I hope I'll have out in a couple of weeks after this one. Also, I would say to you that you want to really pay attention to the kite, because the kite is flowing towards a peaking energy of success and victory and war and strategy and knowledge and wisdom, Athena, in the house of your work. Now, she often goes into books. Like, I mean, I have clients who are authors, right? And I find, or librarians, and I find Athena very active. So you may find that something to do with work in a book comes into your life, wanting to work on a book, create a book. You may be dispensing more knowledge and wisdom in your workplace at your colleagues, coworker spaces. But she's also sometimes very legal eagle. And you may also be looking at legal matters connected to money and work situations, as well as home situations. And you're trying to have success because she's at the top of a kite. And this kind of success is anchored, of course, in an earth trine, which brings its own monetary success. So you have a monetary, responsible, grounded earth trine pointing at Athena, who says, I want to deliver this success financially through work and through better health and health routines, through pets, and then real estate, including rentals. Now, why do I say that? Because you have Juno here about contracts and agreements that are binding or that are committed. And she is flowing to Athena, who's also strategic, but also sometimes legal eagle, in a house that has to do with rentals, property rentals. So some of you, it could be a new opportunity to rent a property, but with a new moon conjunct powerful Pluto, who's all about wealth in the eighth house, maybe a possibility to purchase a property. Purchase properties, rental properties, all of that are very in play in the 6 months that follow. All you Gemini sun, moon, and rising folk, and particularly Gemini moon, it might really be about buying or selling a home. Rising can definitely be that as well. Now, lastly, I will note to you that the bottom of the kite is held by an unpredictable god of rebellion, change, and freedom, with Jupiter kind of blessing the whole thing. There may be some unexpected developments to do with your home life that connect to backroom deals, negotiations, secret conversations, or things to do with foreign countries and foreign lands, unexpected developments that impact positively your career, your finances, your work routines, and your home life connected to foreign shores and foreign countries in play for you over the next 2 weeks from this moon and 6 months. Reminding you as well that this can also look like something to do with an unexpected change or direction that you may take that has to do with your own self-sabotaging addictions, habits, and patterns, including substance use or dependency. And I like the fact that the sun god Apollo is flowing to Uranus, and in the house of things we put in our mouth, a sudden breakthrough, a sudden change, a sudden ending or beginning or new direction regarding substances or ways that you undo yourself by digesting things through this mouth, smoking, drinking, whatever. Lastly, I think I'm on the lastly. Also, Apollo's a sun god, right? A sun god on a star that can be about success. Castor has his positive sides. For the world, I showed you as negative, but Google fixed star past Castor. He can bring some positive success developments to your finances. So again, we see more financial up-leveling even with Castor here, but it is a lot of desire to move away from earnings perhaps and into more eighth house money. It's opposing that moon, more passive income, more investment income, more even just living off savings for a while and less hustle in the earning story. This can also look for some of you like preparing to retire in the next 6 months. All right, Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign in the story here. You have got a energy of the new beginning, new moon in your marriage house. And I wonder, this happens on the yearly, but now we have an exalted Mars sitting here, will be visible at the end of January, and this can exalt your marriage. Now, I'm going to give you a note though. Mars cuts, ends, and severs, and it can also be an exalted ending. What is an exalted ending to a long-term committed love or business partnership? You tell me. You wanted it to end, you're glad it did. Hallelujah, you're out of there. But if not, you may get some new passion and excitement and vim and vigor going in an existing long-term connection. Mars rising here can help you improve, which we'll do a whole video on, but this new moon can be participating, help you improve the way you can succeed by reaching out to your audience, client, and marketplace energies in your life, if that is something you do in your career path. And this energy of Mars talking to Saturn in your ninth house can also be very much about legal contracts, agreements that go your way, including legal contracts and agreements in the world of book publishing, academic environments, maybe getting an offer to go to your favorite university or college, or things to do with agreements to do with courts and judges and settlements that work in your behalf. 2 weeks after, 6 months after, let's see what happens. You can see there's a kite here. It'd be hard not to notice. And it points to your fifth house of entrepreneurship, creative projects, and romance. And because there's a lot of energy going on here, focused on that pivotal energy of the fifth house, if you're an entrepreneur, you're really killing it in the next 2 weeks to 6 months after this moon. But you also can get contracts for writing projects as well. Athena is about books. Fifth house is about creativity and entrepreneurship. And Juno is about contracts and agreements in the house of writing or partners as well. So it looks like some of you, if you're a Cancer rising, especially maybe looking at some really powerful developments around legal contracts to do with writing projects coming up, and entrepreneurship and creative projects as well, including the word books. Unexpected developments, shocking and exciting and sudden, could be happening out of the 11th house, where you have friends who want to help you. This is like your big brother, fairy godfather, genie in a bottle energy. Some unexpected benefit coming to you from somebody else, maybe a Jupiter figure. Jupiter's up there in your 11th house, maybe like a leader, someone in power, somebody who's generous or magnanimous, an elder sibling benefiting you, giving you some kind of lift of some kind. And Apollo, the sun god, happens to be sitting in your first house. You are the sun god. You are trying to be leaderful. You are trying to radiate that energy, but also you're opposing that new moon in the house of significant other, clients, and audience. And perhaps the call is for you to more focus on those others that are critical to your success rather than just make it all about you. Time to hit the road or hit the road, Jack. Time to start focusing on the audience, marketplace, and clients in your story in the 2 weeks that follow this moon and in the 6 months after as well. I would say this is an emotionally intense moon, right, on Pluto, and your partner may be going through a very big emotional business and love partner, very big emotional crisis in the 2 weeks that follow the moon and up to 6 months that follow. All right, don't forget to hit the like button if you're in the live premiere, and we're into the Leo land. Leos, this is a new beginning, fresh start, new moon in your 6th house of work. It's work. Job, work, service, can be your work routines, your health routines, pets. Now, we have a new beginning here. Some of you may want a new pet. It's that simple. But with Mars here in his exaltation, he does cut and sever. Hopefully that doesn't mean that a pet may pass. I don't want to worry you, but it can mean that in the 2 weeks that follow this moon, you may experience a pet, maybe an elder pet getting ready to leave the planet. These things happen. I'm not trying to put fear in your mind. Love your pet now, right? And also you could get some exciting developments going on that exalts you, kind of thing. Mars will be visible after the 27th of January in your career and reputation space. In your work space, as it applies to some success in your career. And that's because that Mars, in Capricorn is flowing to Jupiter up here. And this is really good for you getting a raise or a promotion or a dream job of some sort, unexpected, exciting developments there in the 2 weeks and up to 6 months that follow the moon. And there's a flow from Saturn, who's a boss of Mars, right? If you listen to my 2024 January video for your sign, there's more detail about this mini triangle that's here. But Mars is like, oh, I love you, Saturn. I'm in your house thanks to the VIP treatment, and like I can act a little more serious and act a little more, Saturnian if you want. And Saturn is like, and I would like to help. You help me get more money. So this is really good for some of you to get a buyout, a severance package, a stock investment taking off, but it may be connected to the word work or the ability to pay down a debt, pay off a mortgage, pay off a credit card, pay down a debt. And you could do that in the next 2 weeks or 6 months following the moon. If you're looking to rent a property, like to own a property, you want to rent it out, or you want to rent a property yourself, this is going to open up a yay door for you, especially with strategic legal ease. Athena at the tip of a kite in the fourth house of property, home, and real estate, flowing to this moon, new beginning, very powerful new home is possible for some of you and connected to a rental property. And you may perhaps even find that unexpected career developments, Uranus at the other end of the kite, jolt you into a new opportunity financially, right? We've got agreements and contracts financially to do with money, payments, and earnings that connect to what you're doing in your home. For example, you get a great opportunity to work from home and you take it. You get a new job that they let you work from home and you're delighted. Finally, you could also, did I say finally more than once today as well? You could also maybe look at this as an opportunity to create a home office or to connect to an agreement, a contract for an unexpected, exciting new job. There's so much going on in this kite, but it is mostly very positive. Apollo, sun god, opposite from the 12th. Quit it. Is it the alcohol, the vape? Is it the self-sabotaging mindset? Are you your own worst enemy? It's time to end it, time to quit, time to be more on your own game and not let yourself down, because the 12-6 axis is a axis of self-sabotage. And so it's time to let those strategies of sabotage or lack of strategy defaults go. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising, the energy here is that you have a new beginning with a new moon on January 11th in your fifth house of children. Now with Mars here, Mars often means leaving or cutting. So maybe a child is moving out of your house, Virgo, or you are going to move into a more directive and powerful relationship with an existing child. I think that with Mars here, if you're a self-starter, if you're an entrepreneur, this is amazing for you. You could really level up. And he's very competitive in the fifth house. And it makes for really good entrepreneurial success if you're somebody who is doing any of that independent business stuff. Passion. So this new moon is a new beginning in the house of sexual romantic love. And for Virgos, it can renew the sexual romantic life that you have, especially given that it is being connected to Saturn, who owns your romance house in the house of significant love. Now, Saturn is testing your relationship in long-term committed love and business partners until February of 2026. But this is a nice bright spot that suggests you could renew that relationship, the passion, the intimacy, and the romance in the 6 months that follow this new moon. Look for evidence of that in the 2 weeks that follow this new moon on January 11th. If you are somebody who has any kind of desire for writing or traveling, either one are going, and education, writing, travel, and education, the kite is pointing to all three. It's Athena in the third house and your social media networks, being strategic, being more available to the online world, being more available to your local neighborhood even, or travel opportunities. And the energy of the kite is asking from the moon, the new moon, something like, and it better be fun, I better be passionate and excited about this trip, this educational opportunity, this online thing, this online gig, if there's any such gig arising. The energy of partnership, like to get married, to commit, to to really bind something. You're carrying Juno right in your face. You Virgos are like, I want to make this thing work. I want to commit. But she's also the opposite. She can bring divorce and separation. So you're kind of looking through the lens of your relationship, if you have one, like, should I stay or should I go? You know that song, Should I Stay or Should I Go? And the Kite is asking you to consider staying, only because the new moon, the new beginning in the house of romance with Pluto for intensity, passion, um, you know, powerful energies, is flowing to Saturn, right? Because Mars is flowing to Saturn and Mars is there. So it's kind of like, okay, try to make it work. And indeed, just for you, I'm not going to, this is a part of another narrative. I didn't want to cover the second Kite. You can see that the new moon is also flowing to Neptune and Eros for passion, and Neptune for soulmate or deeper unconditional love in an existing love relationship. This is going to be a 6-month window to know if this is a testing 1-2 for a new beginning or an ending. But for many of you, it will look like an attempt for a new beginning or a fortifying in a relationship that's struggling and committing more deeply. With Jupiter, Uranus, in the 9th house of legal matters, court cases, academic environments, long distance travel, and looking at the top of the sky as it forms a backbone to Athena in the house of travel, unexpected travel opportunities, exciting and unexpected travel opportunities may emerge for romantic getaways, for things to do with learning opportunities that open up in the 2 weeks that follow this moon. You have Apollo in the 11th house. You might be thinking to yourself something like, it's a push-pull, like we got two solar energies, Apollo opposite a sun moon, between something to do with friends, larger groups of belonging and social circles, and the more intimate creative time you need to do what you want and brings you joy and pleasure, or time in your relationship with your sexual partner, more intimate romantic time. And you might be realizing something around this moon 2 weeks that follow, you can't have it all. It's an either or. Maybe it's less social and more intimate time that this moon calls you toward in the 2 weeks and 6 months that follow. Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. It is a moon that's going to open up a new beginning for you in your 4th house of home, property, and real estate, with a great intensity and a potential for some significant wealth. Now, it can be legacy wealth, new moon, new beginning, Pluto, death, Mars, ending, cutting, 4th house matters. So someone in your family of origin, maybe, dearly departing, especially with Saturn sextiling an elder, a grandparent, great grandparent, and you may be coming into some money in the 6 weeks of 2 weeks and or 6 months that follow the January 11th new moon. Now, Mars wants to do well by Saturn because he is in Saturn's house, right? And Saturn's sitting in your 6th house. So this is really good for working from home, traveling far from home for work, things maybe to do with bringing a beautiful new pet into your home, and also opening up powerful opportunities for changes that are good for you regarding rental situations, whether you're the landlord or the leasee. Positive new directions and changes coming through the sky, starting here with this new moon on January 11th. Finally, there's a kite in the sky with Jupiter sitting with Uranus. Now, Uranus holds the bottom of the kite. This is where you pick the darn thing up. It's about passive income, residual income, taxes, bank loans and mortgages, and money that you get in significant inheritances or shared money with a love relationship or business partnership. Those monies there are sitting there with a sudden, unexpected, surprising development. But because the kite does connect to a Pluto, moon, sun, Mars in the 4th house, it still could be the unexpected inheritance opportunity. You can see being strategic with your earnings, being strategic with your savings, being strategic with your spending as a result of this kite. But it does help you with your earnings, savings, and spending and possessions. And lastly, with Juno in the 12th house, I wonder too if the kite is going to pull in contracts and agreements from foreign or international companies or entities. And for some of you, this can look very much like an opportunity to sell or buy a house as well. And lastly, suddenly, unexpectedly, buy or sell a property in the 2 weeks and 6 months that follow the moon. Some push and pull between what you want to do in the home nest, which is, by the way, to maybe renovate it, to redo it, to reconstruct it, to change it, to have more passion and excitement and exercise at home. Opposite the solar figure, Apollo in the 10th house. You may have some clashes with your existing boss, work people, powerful, like, the manager, the boss, the person over you. And you may have some kind of intensity here going on 2 weeks after this moon and up to 6 months after. What do you do with it? I'm not sure. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising, just for you as a water sign. I'm going to sip some water. Do not forget, if you're in the live premiere, to hit the like button and subscribe and hit my notification bell. And to all my regulars out there, Boiling Frogs and Crystalline Alchemist, Ace of Spades, Stephen the Jupiterian, and Misbehaving, and wherever you are, LA Taylor, haven't seen you for a while. Righty, who else? Michael Thrash, Linda Calder, Ace of Spades, and more. I think I said Ace of Spades. Thank you for being a part of my crew and being a Purple Table Tarot, Psychic Readings with Rose, Our Soul Songs. You guys give me the inspiration by being in the chat room, making discussions, and getting to know each other to keep on making videos. All right, one more slurp for Scorpio water signs. Talking too fast? Slow me down. There's a little gearbox. You can listen to me at a slower speed. All right, Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. This is a story of a brand new beginning, a new moon that can unfold for 6 more months after, and certainly give you clues 2 weeks into it. So January 11th, add 2 weeks, add 6 months. To do with things that have to do with your third house. Now, that can be a new beginning in a relationship to a sibling, particularly younger, maybe a connection to your local neighborhood, change of your neighborhood. Some of you may be moving, especially if your IC floats in the third house using the whole sign house system. And this moon can bring a change of residence. This also can bring a change of travel plans or just new travel plans that are exciting, and things to do with your social media online world taking off in the 6 months that follow. You have a Mars exalted here participating in this moon, and he's taking orders from Saturn in your 5th house of creativity, art, independent entrepreneurial business, romance. So you can have an exciting romantic getaway with someone you love. You can have a new level of mastery or success in some kind of creative project, especially if that creative project is shown to the world in the online world. Through the social media websites and stuff like that. I also think that, this is a possibility here for a change of residence, in particular, because Saturn rules your 4th house. That's going to be really exciting for you. And you'll be knowing about this residential change possibility within 6 months of this lunation. You can see that there is also a kite, and the kite is anchored by, of course, the moon on one corner in your 3rd house, and the goddess of contracts and agreements and vows and dedication and commitment, Juno, in your 11th. Now, Juno can also be, by the way, moneta, money. I didn't bring that up for anyone else, but she's in a money house. So there may be some opportunity financially coming from someone who's a benefactor, ally, who treats you like a big brother or sister, that it couldn't be legally binding or contractually necessary, like signing a contract. The sun does in the moon, new moon, right? Sun and moon are conjunct, rule your career house. So a new legal contract, benefit, opportunity in your career can emerge 2 weeks, 6 months after this moon. And if it does, it looks like it may involve some travel. It may also involve something to do with you enjoying the darn thing. You're going to like what you're getting into. You're being more strategic. You're being more Athenian. You're acting like you are the goddess of wisdom, the knowledge, the wise one, the strategic one, the one who wants to claim victory in war. You have her in the house of you, and you have that quality about you. I am Athena. She's also associated with authors. I am an author of my life. And I think that with Uranus, the unexpected, the sudden, the shocking, the surprising, some developments that you didn't see coming from your significant love relationship partner, your business partner, your client, audience, marketplace, public, boom. Something goes on here. I wonder, you could have an unexpected success in the online world, like something you publish, is really well received. You may, or something that you post on a social media platform goes like viral. Uranus in the house of the public, audience, and marketplace. I think also you're looking here like, this new moon is flowing to the god of art, just music, sound, film, photography, videography, but also deep, unconditional, flowing love and passion, eros. And you may be feeling this intensity of a new passion project, especially if any way you involve the word writing or the word online and social media. And this intense excitement, 2 weeks and 6 months that follow the moon, about passion projects that are creative. You're lucky. Jupiter's in your seventh house. Your partner is lucky. You're lucky in audience, marketplace, and public. You're lucky. Your partner gets some more luck and unexpected surprises. This is true, by the way, till the third week of May. So enjoy the Jupiter transit direct. Go watch my Jupiter direct in your seventh house video for your sign. Watch out for some kind of push-pull between ninth house, third house matters. Apollo is opposite the sun, moon. Apollo, what father figure, authority figure is opposing Pluto, sun, moon in your bottom of your sky? It could literally be watch for clashes with a father figure, because that's ninth house people. Or watch clashes when it comes to travel agendas in the 2 weeks that follow the moon. And certainly be cautious with legal matters. I mean, you'll do well legally, perhaps, unexpected, surprising legal contracts that benefit you, but also the moon, Pluto at the bottom opposing Apollo. Get someone definitely to read that fine print and wait till Mercury gets into Capricorn, okay, which is around Mercury in Capricorn, the middle of January, because Mercury is the 13th of January, because Mercury is in Sag, and you don't want to sign any legal contracts if you can until he gets into Capricorn and gives you an eagle eye view. I mean, a clean eye view, because there could be some legal contracts here that need Mercury to get here before you go ahead and sign on the dotted line. All right, Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. It is a story of a beginning in your new beginning in your money house. Sure, it happens every year, right? New moon in your second house. It takes 6 months to unfold, but you're going to begin something fresh and new. But you got Pluto for power, intensity, regeneration here, and Mars is exalted. And exaltation of your earnings and money story is what you're going to see anyway for 2 years. That's going to be in a deeper dive in my video about Mars rising here. In the meantime, the moon is also a part of that, and it suggests that you're going to have a new beginning financially, basically. And this new financial beginning in earnings and resources is going to also connect you to fourth house matters, property, land, home, and real estate, or something you're doing to generate revenue from your home base. Now, also, possibly, you could receive money or earnings increases in this particular chart through something that has to do with writing, the online world, traveling. Okay, those are stories that Saturn is involved in, as he owns both your third and fourth house and tells the Mars fueled new moon what to do. Every new moon will give you a clue within 2 weeks of what it's really about, but it does have a 6-month fulfillment time frame. The Kite is opening up some opportunities in the house of work. Uranus, unexpected, surprising, 10th house, Juno, contracts and agreements in your career and reputation space, connected to increase or new beginnings in earnings, connected to 12th house, tip of the kite. 12th house, tip of the kite, passive income, payments processors, Stripe, foreign land income, money from a foreign shore entity or foreign far off land. So many ways this can play out. It really is exciting. I don't know what it will be for your money, but you're definitely able to increase your money. Some of you may also be able to rent a property out or to rent a property yourself. That also looks good on your finances. You're being asked to really move the game needle up in the next 2 years in terms of generating your own revenue. And this little baked in Apollo sun god in the house of your savings, your 401k, relying on your spouse's money, relying on inheritance money, whatever, those kinds of chunks of money. It's not really what it's about anymore. You're really having to pull back into an excitement, a passion, a drive, and a willpower. New moon, new beginning, Capricorn with an exalted Mars there to make your money happen, to really go into an exciting earnings direction and less reliance on things that you stuck it under your mattress and maybe thought you could live on. Something like that. Okay, moving forward. All right, Capricorn, it's all about you because the moon's in the sign of you, and this is your moon to have, right? This is exciting and powerful. Anaretic Pluto, very powerful regeneration of self, identity, really kind of like cathartic renewal and rebirth going on here for you. Oh, this next 2 weeks after this moon might feel very intense for you, though, with that Pluto conjunction. And Mars also invisible, but still there. You may have this very sharp sword in your hand. You may not suffer fools gladly. You may be really dealing with anger that you haven't dealt with, aggression, anger that might be a little bit unconscious because Mars is invisible. And so you may be dealing with some kind of repressed anger that needs to be unbottled in the 2 weeks that follow this moon and up to in the 6 months that follow. This is good for you, Pluto moon, Pluto sun, and Pluto rising. You're all feeling what I'm trying to describe here. Now, that said, it's still a new beginning in the house of you. And it does involve a Mars getting ready to rise here. And you're going to rise in the next 2 years to new levels of success, focus, determination, and willpower. There will be a whole video coming out on that. It's a deep dive, plus my webinar that I introduced in the beginning. Please sign up. Capricorns, you need to be in that webinar. It's only $14. And I kind of want you to think about Saturn in your third house saying, I got you, you're in my house and I want you to maximize your power. Mars, who's, you know, midwifing this or fueling this new moon. And Saturn says to Mars in that sextile, I want you to make things happen, please, to do with trips, travel, writing projects, online world, social media, things to do with siblings. They're all in the game. Siblings, especially younger and older, are mixed up in this story of this kite, right? Now, the kite, okay. And by the way, if you want to write, you got to be passionate and enthused and excited by it because Eros, Neptune are flowing to the new moon. So the writing house, the social media house, the neighborhood travel house needs that enthusiastic excitement and passion. Maybe saying move to a neighborhood where you have rocks and sea, Capricorn and Pisces energy. Now, Jupiter, too, I want to mention briefly, right? Because he does flow very nicely to Saturn. That's that mini grand trine that I mentioned earlier. It's in my 2024 January videos for each sign. That's really going to glow you up when it comes to enjoying your life in your local neighborhood and connected to enjoyment even of your romantic partnerships and your children. And if you're an entrepreneur, this is a lovely, lovely energy baked into this background of this new moon for entrepreneurial and creative success. Now, Capricorn, as well. The kite is unexpected, shocking, and exciting things that could show up a couple weeks after the moon or even longer, 6 months, from the house of your children, from the house of your creative projects, from the fifth house of your romantic sexual life. But it's also very much about being independently employed or entrepreneurial. And there's a sudden boom or surprise or shock element that reverbs up to Athena in the house of the elder sibling or an elder sibling, or the house of your friends and allies who benefit you, who want to help you. Athena can be about legal matters. Juno's in the house of visas. Juno's in the house of passports. Juno's in the house of foreign countries. So there may be some kind of unexpected, surprising, positive development for success in greater career gains connected to contractual agreements with foreigners, legal matters working out in your behalf, visa stuff coming through if you need a visa for travel or for work, those sorts of matters. Unexpected, shocking surprises of the fifth house. With Jupiter there can be pregnancy for you or your partner or your children. So that could be a part of what this next 2 weeks after this kite will show us. Now, Cancer, seventh house. That is definitely where you see Apollo, a sun god, opposing a sun with a moon, obviously, in your house of you. There may be some real friction coming for some of you from a significant partner in love or business, or significant intensity from that person as they are basically opposing your solar energy at this time. So differing agendas and not agreeing with each other could be something that you experience with that business or love partner in the 2 weeks, if not 6 months, that follow the moon. Aquarius, I am one of you. Sun, moon, and rising sign. This is a story where the new beginning is in the 12th house. It's such a good moon with Pluto and Anaretic and Mars, the god of cutting and ending, to quit the bad habit, whatever it may be. I say this all the time. Take your pick. Is it Haagen-Dazs? Is it cigarettes? Is it, wine? What is the thing that wants to be cathartically to die and be reborn? It doesn't mean like it's that Pluto energy is like to go deep under the surface of these things and to regenerate from them, like to grow some butterfly wings, right? And yet Mars is very effective here in the sign of Capricorn, being determined in his valor and courage to cut and end things here that undo you and sabotage you, that you're not in charge of. But Mars loves to travel, and this is a foreign lands and far off shores house as well. And it can indicate a time in the 2 weeks to 6 months after this moon where you may travel to foreign countries and foreign lands. It's that simple. Or you may move to one, because you also have Mars flowing to Jupiter in the house of land, property, and real estate with unexpected developments. This is also really good for your income. This new moon can generate 2 weeks and 6 months that follow a real exciting time of generating money from foreign lands, foreign shores, foreign revenue, payment processors, Stripe and PayPal, and all those good things. Saturn is in your money earnings house. He's stabilizing your money. He's stabilizing your savings. He's helping you with your resources. He's giving you persistence, dedication, and endurance in the long game of your financial earnings. And he works with this Mars. It's baking into the new moon the idea of working hard, but also having strong will, strong drive, and strong determination to be successful financially. Yet the moon wants you to, new moon Pluto, to do what you love, to really find some enjoyment, enthusiasm, passion, ardor, Eros, Neptune, in the way that you are creating this determined revenue and increasing your finances. Now, the moon also would say, because of its anchoring a crossbar of a kite, that you can really level up to a new level of success. This can look like becoming an author, and maybe getting a new level of strategic victory or recognition as you become a wisdom and knowledge holder in your career and reputation space over the next couple of years, even, but mostly over the next 2 weeks as well of this lunation. Athena up here at the top of the kite is taking cue from Juno over here as well in the house of shared resources with a business partner, love partner, taxes, mortgages. There's some kind of contractual agreements going on here. You may be working out some kind of passive income, residual income, royalty income, ad income revenues or something from something you're doing. And you're working with some strategic elements in the career to pull this off. The Uranus, Jupiter in the bottom of the house, don't forget, they're going to connect in April, right? The big reset synodic cycle video. Go watch that one for you. This is going to change your home in a positive, exciting way for many of you Aquarians, especially Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising near 19 to 20 degrees of Aquarius, 21 degrees, 22, 23. Holy man. What exciting times is coming up for you next year with a change of home or a sudden prosperity in the home or whatever. This kind of is baking in something like a foreshadow, right? What are you going to do that's going to create great career success? That's something rebellious, inventive, freedom-loving, exciting, and unexpected to do with home, land, and property. And what you do in and from your home. The moon wants to participate. Again, a lot of you look like you could have increases in foreign revenue or international borderless income, or even a move to another country. And the sun god in the sixth house is opposing the sun. So 2 sun energies opposing, and the moon, of course, in your 12th house. This is really a really harder friction about what it is you need to do regarding situations with pets, with rental properties, with debts, or even with health and health routines and work routines. Something's got to give. There's a real clash of agendas here. Yet that sun god energy over here, Apollo, is flowing to Uranus in your 4th house and to Athena in your 10th. It creates a wedge. This chart is full of stuff, guys. 2 kites, a wedge, can't do all of it. But I'd say you're going to make some significant changes, not to say what they are, to do with your work and health routines. maybe even getting emotional support pet for some of you. And it's going to help you succeed in a strategic and victorious way in your career 2 weeks and 6 months after this powerful transformational new moon. And lastly, and bestly, is Pisces. Now, Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is a reset of a new beginning in the 11th house of the elder sibling, friends as benefactors and allies, people who want to help you, greater career gains, gains you make reputation-wise or income-wise from your career. And there's going to be a new beginning. And it's going to take up to 6 months to show you its full Monty. But because an exalted Mars is here in Capricorn, this bakes in an area of your chart that will be successful. Although you may cut away a few friends, you may cut away a few dreams and goals and long-range plans. You may change those friends and long-range plans and dreams. You may also have a very fierce renewal, regeneration of a relationship with an elder sibling, if that needs to happen. Or an elder sibling becomes an ally and benefactor for you in some fundamental way. Here we can see that you have Saturn, the Lord of Capricorn, in your house, in your sky, in you. And you're being sober and realistic and dedicated and responsible and determined because of this Saturnian overlay, the Saturn through the house of you. It started last year in March, and it's not going away until February of 2026. This makes you extremely realistic, if not sometimes a party pooper raining on people's parade, but you have realism in spades. And Saturn, the realistic version of you, well, you want to experience transcendent, unconditional love, enlightenment and awakening, especially you 20 to 29 degrees of Pisces, and passionate eros and enthusiasm for deep spiritual awakening for some of you, or Neptune, for being able to be involved in Neptunian things like storytelling and photography and filmography. All that said and done, it looks to me like this Saturn-Mars energy is going to square you away with some successful new vision or plan for your life. They can also, in this new beginning, lead to some greater gains in your career. You have a kite with Uranus holding the bottom of it, co-present with Jupiter in your third house of travel, foreign land, of travel, education, a short distance, skills-based education and short distance travel, among many other things. Your daily life can be here. What you do, like my former teacher, Adam Ellenbus, calls it the fishbowl you swim in. Some unexpected changes in the fishbowl you swim in, boom, are happening in your daily, neighbors, neighborhood, places you go. And it's going to shoot up to this Athena in the 9th house of book publishing, foreign lands and foreign travel, visas, foreign shores, legal matters with courts and judges, and academic environments. Boom. Something that Athena wants you to be victorious over, strategic about. She's a victory goddess as well as a strategy goddess. It's really great for any of you Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising writing a book. It looks like you're going to get it published, and maybe things unfold 2 weeks to 6 months after show you the way. Legal matters can resolve on your behalf. Judges will like you. Lawyers will win the day. 2 weeks and 6 months that follow this story. Now, I wonder too, because I can see that your Juno, the marriage goddess, is in the marriage house. And for some of you, there's something going on here where success and legal and foreign lands and marriage and career gains and long-range plans for your life, all these things that I just talked about, these houses are very active. And they're supported by an Earth trine, which brings greater financial gain or financial goodness to your life 2 weeks and 6 months after. But because Juno is also agreements that are contractual and binding, and that you commit to it, and she's in a legal house to do with legal contracts, the 7th house, some of you may sign a legally binding agreement or contract that connects you to greater gains from your career, big brother, sister energy, people who want to help you. And that could show up 2 weeks after the January moon or up to 6 months after. The sun god is in the 5th house of your children, opposing the moon and the sun in your 11th house. You may have some push-pull between matters you have to attend to with your children and this great success you're trying to pull off in this sort of career thing, perhaps, or financial thing. Or you might have some kind of, well, honestly, it's so many things it could be. I want to sit with this one for you because Cancer in your 5th house is about fertility and pregnancy and children. A sun god is just a sun god. Apollo is just there. He also brings healing. And he does flow to Athena in the house of grandchildren. So, very possibly, just some of you, Pisces, may find that this is going to be a reveal around a grandchild that might be coming into your life in the, well, I don't know, 2 weeks that follow the moon, probably, because the asteroids are minor energies. But I do like the fact that the sun god Apollo does flow to the marriage goddess in your seventh house as well. And this 2 weeks that follow this moon could also open up a greater connection to a romantic partner in a more binding and contractually legal way, or just more commitment in a relationship, a more forthcoming level of commitment in some significant romantic love relationship, especially if that person is connected to foreign shores and foreign lands. Alrighty, so that's about all I have. I hope that was helpful and useful, and that you guys can make now. I forgot to say in the beginning, my little shtick where I go, help use astrology to time your best life and navigate your life using the tools of the tools of astrology or something like that. Oh my God. So hopefully this has been useful, helpful, helping you navigate your life with the tools of astrology. I suggest that you listen to the video I put out with Mars moving through Capricorn, which I touched down on the heliacal rise of Mars on the 27th of January. That's already out there. And then I will be putting out another video about this Mars rising. So that's coming out closer to the 27th. And I have my webinar on the 25th of January. This time it's not free. I've done a lot of free webinars lately, but this was going to take me more time to prepare. It's 90 minutes long. I'm going to put content that helps you use this heliacal rise of Mars, not seen since 1977 January, and how it can propel you to 2 years of success in your Capricorn real estate of your natal chart, one of 12 Pisces houses. And, this isn't something you really want to work with, because most people here are only going to get it twice in a lifetime or once in a lifetime, depends, hopefully we all live long, right, and prosper. And so it's worth knowing about and getting ready to use it. Exalted Mars blessing you. January 27th, 2024, add 2 yees or 12 months. And people ask me, what do you mean add 2 years? Add 2 years, like the 27th of January, and go 2 years into it, right? I don't know why that's confusing. Someone in the comments tell me if the words add 2 years, like January 27th, add 2 years, is confusing, because I've had that happen to me more than once when I use the phraseology add 2 years. All right. So this is now going to go to my Patreon community on January 5th. I hope that you guys enjoy this on Sunday the 7th. Patreon community, ad-free, early access content. They get the stuff up to a month before, sometimes less, because I'm backlogged a bit. This time they get it 2 days early. So if you like to get stuff ahead of the curve, come join me on Patreon. And I'm giving you 3 free courses for free for trying me out in the month of January. Then I'm going to close that whole promotion down for sure. And that is even a live course with me on Chiron and life cycles that I'm teaching at the end of January. So if you want to try me out for $5 or more, choose your tier. You get these free gifts from me. You have to take a live class with me. And then I'm not putting that promotion back on for at least another 7 months. So it's a time to get free content, free classes. One is a Synastry, Are You My Person? Synastry Relationship course. The other one is Chiron, Your Key to Purpose. And those courses are free when you join my Patreon. Check it out. And then you can leave with the prizes. Oh, guys, it's been a long day. January 5th. Ciao, everyone. Bye-bye.